Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Legion Alpha video. Today we are going to be going through the Broken Shore as the Alliance because the Horde version is currently not available on the Alpha. Now this video does have loads of spoilers, but if all you want is my opinion on what the Broken Shore is like, go to the time that is flashing on your screen right now, and you can skip all the spoilers. Anyway, let's get right into the event. So after talking to a few different NPCs, we eventually leave from Stormwind Harbor, with the idea being that these are supposed to be the forces which are heading off to basically reinforce the people who landed in the Legion cinematic trailer. As you may have noticed from the cinematic trailer, it didn't seem to go too well for them, so we end up on this boat sailing towards the Broken Shore.
I haven't seen so much as a seagull for hours now.
There is a foulness in the air, and we are headed directly towards it.
And we get some voice acting. Now, this is not fully voice acted at the minute. A few characters do have some of their voice files missing.
Light's sake, what is that?
It appears to be a great source of fell energy. I have never seen anything like it.
Directly ahead, Alliance ships! Make for the beach! Hold on, everyone. This is gonna get worse before it gets better.
And after that, it essentially fades into this cinematic showing us landing on the beach. Now, it's a bit weird because this cinematic plays, then it kind of goes to a black screen, and suddenly the boat is all up on the shore. But it's a pretty cool looking scene. This Broken Shore stuff, it's kind of a mixture aesthetically of, say, Mardoom, and then, well, I suppose the Night Elf stuff. It's kind of corrupted looking, which is pretty cool. I think the idea, this is the Tomb of Sagaris, which is an elven temple or something along those lines. Anyway, we land on the beach and meet Gen and Jaina. Gen is currently fully voice acted, which is quite nice. However, Jaina isn't.
There's only one way out of this alliance, and it's through that line of demons. Cannons, lay down covering fire. All forces, charge!
As you can see, Blizzard have, they've still not quite managed to work out what a British accent is, but hey, I've stopped expecting at this stage. Anyhow, so you fight through all of these guys, and you saw those three pillars that are shooting down those big, laser beams. We need to destroy them and carve our way through all the forces. I'm going to cut some of that stuff out because at the end of the day, it is just me attacking stuff. So with all of that done, we've been sort of being taunted by this Dread Commander guy, who we, of course, have to kill eventually. Now, the fight is easy enough. He does a cone attack, a few other little things like that. One or two cheesy little bits of dialogue, but hey, it's a demon. We're probably going to forgive that. Anyway, the fight's easy enough. I don't really know how it's going to balance, though, when you get a full host of 40 players in here, because this is designed to be with 40 players. Anyway, we move on to stage 4 of this scenario, which is to find Varian. Of course, the idea is that we are, here to reinforce.
We lost many good troops.
Obviously, things didn't seem to go that well in the cinematic, so we're about to head over this hill and
Varian's
find out.
forces should have landed just around this hill. Let's hope they had more luck. Neither have I. Something has changed. This isn't the same Legion we fought before.
Now, it's interesting that Gen talks about it not being the same Legion that we fought before, especially in light of the events of Warlords of Draenor, and certainly a revelation later on will allude to what he's saying. We get some kind of Warhammer 40k-esque spaceships warping in, which, you know what, I don't care that this is World of Warcraft, that is really, really cool. And this is certainly a universe where Blizzard have been able to design things such that they've got a lot of freedom when it comes to levels of technology, and I think they're using that actually quite brilliantly here to make the Legion feel a bit different to how they did in TBC and also be very cool in the process. Anyway, we land down here, we find Varian, he's attacking this big Morag guy. The Morag things are actually, they're a lot more dangerous now than they were in TBC when they were tiny little stumpy things. Anyhow, we need to push up here and destroy this portal because it's just chucking reinforcements at us. Gelbin Mekatork has appeared to join in with his silly little gnome people. Gnomes are always funny. And yeah, we just, slice through some stuff. Basically, this will constantly spawn out those Morag demon guys until you destroy all of those crystals. I, though, did destroy the crystal, and we're pretty much good. The next thing we need to do is raise the Black City. So the Black City is essentially just like the main group of structures on the Broken Shore, of course, completely infested by demons. So Varian charges down, we go with him. But before we get into the Black City, we actually meet somebody, a fallen Argent Crusader, who says he doesn't really know what happened, they were on us in seconds, and there was fire everywhere. Of course, nobody really knows what's happened to Tyrion at the minute.
We will find him.
Of course, Tyrion's a major lore character that people generally seem to care quite a bit about. I think he was one of the characters that was done quite well. Of course, Bernard Hill, who played Thid in Lord of the Rings, did a bang-up job of voice acting him. Certainly the caliber of actor that can direct himself when it comes to a voice performance, and perhaps doesn't fall into some of the traps of being perhaps misdirected that Blizzard sort of do sometimes. Anyway, we fight through the Black City. Now, this is simply just killing mobs, clicking on objects to free some allies, and it's got a decent enough progression. You start off at the lower level, which is where I am now, but you work your way up a hill. As you work up that hill, you fight some more dangerous guys. A few Dreadlords appear. Here's some 2 big Morag things. Overall, it's cool enough. It does take a little bit of time. However, I was here as a single person, instead of it activating as a full raid group of like 20 to 40 people, which, according to what Blizzard have been saying, is what's supposed to happen. It's also got wonky tuning. Yeah, and I also managed to pull all of these imps. That did not end very well for me. As far as tuning goes, there was times when perhaps, you know, like a bolt from one of the Dreadlords would like take off a third of my health, maybe 2/3, which is a little bit strange. Now, all throughout this, it's not just you attacking things. The NPCs are actively going around, helping you out, seeking out fights, and stuff like that. So it does feel decently balanced, and what this does show here is that even if you are just one player, the scaling of it means that it's totally doable, and it's not limited to needing to be done in a raid group.
They're retreating.
So we push them back from the Black City. Of course, Varian says that he gets the feeling the fight isn't over yet, and yeah, he would be right. Now, Jaina, of course, well, actually not yet. We find Tyrion first. He is not having a good time. Our good friend, Gul'dan, is over there, casting a little beam thing. Jaina, of course, being a mage, gets to use mage bullshit. There's some mage bullshit, which makes a very, very handy bridge for us. Frankly, it would be quite absurd if mages could do that in the actual game. Anyway, so we make it to where Tyrion is, and this is where we get one of our first big dumps of kind of exposition and character stuff.
Stay back! It's a trap! The light will protect me!
Well, nice to know that bad times aren't keeping him down. So Gul'dan says, "You're all a fool, you stand at the temple of a god." That's, of course, referring to the avatar of Sargeras. And yeah, the light cannot reach you here, all that lovely stuff. He summons Croesus, this big demon chap who, well, just looks extremely cool. I don't recognize that model. Maybe it's another one that's been modified. Anyway, Tyrion gets roasted.
Will...
And then plopped into some green soup, so we'll see what happens to Tyrion later on. But until then, Croesus is a big problem. So Gul'dan just says, you know, everything you've worked for, you sacrificed. Tyrion's gone. You liked Tyrion quite a bit. Now you should feel bad. And yeah, he's basically just being a conniving arsehole, as he typically is. Anyway, we need to get rid of Croesus, this big dude. So Croesus was a fun enough fight. However, as far as balance goes, it has this big cone ability, which really is very fast and does a lot of damage. Obviously, you can see there I did not react to that with particular speed. But still, I feel like I was okay, and it still hit me. Maybe they'd want to slow down the activation time of that cone a little bit. Now, just to celebrate almost killing this guy, I, of course, managed to get myself killed. You know, very heroic, as I strive to be. Anyway, Croesus eventually gets killed. And I imagine with a full raid tier of 40 people, you know, or not raid tier, a full raid of 40 people, you'll just have so much death that it will be hilarious. Anyway, with all this done, we need to stop Gul'dan. Jaina throws up another ice bridge for us. Very handy of her, always obliging. We head across that, and then we are at the mouth of the tomb of Sargeras, which Gul'dan himself is standing in front of. Varian says there's nowhere to run. I'll guarantee you a swift death, all that stuff. But, of course, Gul'dan is having none of that shit. He is, as I said, a conniving arsehole, and therefore can just summon in some help from a portal. And he really does do that. It's got quite a cool little spell effect. Loads of them sort of warp in. I really like warp effects. It's pretty cool. So we have to fight off this wave of demons here. And yeah, they're pretty okay to fight, really. Croesus was the only thing that will kill you a lot here if you're, if you're getting caught out by the thing. Anyway, so we fight another wave of demons. This time it's got 2 big infernals, loads of... not Felguard, I think there's something else. But anyway, they all die, and we get something particularly interesting to happen. So Varian says, no matter how many you throw at us, we'll slay them all. But you'll notice Lord Jaraxxus, Eredar Lord of the Burning Legion, the Eredar twins, Brutalis, a bunch of bosses and people who we have already killed in the Burning Legion, including the three lads, Mephistros, Tichondrius, and Bliblab, the Dread Lords that have been doing sort of, weird stuff since Warcraft 3. They all appear, everyone charges in, and then we get a rad cinematic, and we're instantly ported to Stormwind. Now, in that cinematic, we know that Varian Wrynn dies. Gan cannot really face bringing his a letter from Varian to his son, so he asks us to do it. Of course, Gan is one of those characters that is supposed to be very angry, full of rage, not the best at emotions, so it stands to reason that we are the one who ends up doing this. So there is the coffin of the dead, or the late Varian Wrynn. Unfortunately, it kept on phasing in and out of existence because it's the alpha. So all the leaders come to give their support. Velen says, of course, you're not alone. Now, Jaina says, against both the Legion and the Horde. Of course, Prophet Valen's like, what? Nope. To which Jaina says, the Horde betrayed your father and left us to die. To fight beside those cowards would be to dishonor everything that he stood for. Of course, they're going for the whole angry Jaina route again. Velen is not particularly happy at this quarrel, and that his people know that being divided against facing demons is a pretty bad time. Of course, lots of Eredar lore. Of course, Anduin, being a goody two-shoes, does agree with Jaina. I think he is right in this case. But Jaina, in a streak of amazing Blizzard writing, quite literally takes a hissy fit and ports herself away. I don't know. I feel like it's weird when you read War Crimes and you see, say, Christy Golden write some, really good stuff for that character, and then you see Blizzard kind of take that character maybe in less of a good direction. It's just because we haven't really seen Jaina, and she's had that great character development in War Crimes, and this is like the next time we interact with her. And we get madness. But then we talk to one of the demon hunter guys and says, hey, by the way, this room's full of demons. See all the guards? Yeah, they're actually demons. And it turns out half the guards were demons in disguise. Lovely stuff. I actually really did appreciate this little twist in the story. It's a good way of, conveying the threat of the Burning Legion and stuff like that. They can quite literally be anywhere. So we fight our way through these Felguard guys. We close down their first portal, and then we close down their second portal. And with that done, we talk to Anduin for a final time, and he tells us to go and talk to the War Mage in the library and head off to Dalaran. Almost directly from Dalaran, then, that is where we go on the first leg of our artifact weapon quest. So basically with Legion, you're going to have the Broken Shore, and then you instantly go into getting your artifact weapon. Now, that might be, I'd say, an hour and a half worth of content that players will get to experience. And of course, for the most part, the artifact quest stuff it's not 100% different for every class. Some stuff is shared, but there is quite a lot of unique content there. So the way that Legion is kicked off is sort of in such a way that you get maybe an hour and a half of decently high octane content. Before I move on to the non-spoiler section, I just want to say it's a bit interesting what they're doing with the Burning Legion. They're bringing a lot of characters back. I don't know if that's cheap or not. We'll just have to see how it's actually done in-game. Certainly, as far as character deaths go, I feel like it's a little bit of a pity the way that they've done some of these. Again, there are things which I could spoil beyond this video in relation to one particular character. I'm not going to do that, but suffice to say, I think it's a bit strange when a character is not really touched in-game for a long time, and then they are brought back just to be killed. I think that does feel a little bit cheap. I totally understand from Blizzard's perspective, though. They're doing an MMO, they can't have every character in every expansion, but I think maybe when they're planning, that's something that they should bear in mind. Additionally, as far as all of these demons go, with us seeing the three Dreadlords and also seeing the likes of Jaraxxus, are these guys going to be raid bosses? That's something that's quite cool. I think, actually, I'm almost sure a few of them are raid bosses already, but, maybe in the raid after the one that we're currently in. Anyhow, let's start the non-spoiler section of this video. What did I think overall? Well, I was actually a little bit underwhelmed, I'm afraid to say. yeah, I don't really know why, but a lot of this just kind of fell flat for me until we ramped up to some of the sections at the end. Now, I do want to make it extremely clear that this is the kind of content that really does rely on cinematics and voice acting. The cinematics are not in at the minute, and a lot of the voice acting isn't in. Plus, it's reusing some music from Warlords of Draenor that obviously, or I'd hope, obviously, won't be the case. You know, have its own music whenever it comes out. So overall, I'd say that the gameplay maybe isn't that great. Perhaps they don't do as good a job of pushing character development throughout the duration of this scene. As an example, I think they did an excellent job, or at least a pretty good job, of characterizing Khadgar when it came to Tanan Jungle. You know, you got that he was very powerful, he, a bit of wit to him, things like that. It's a little bit tricky to do the likes of that in an MMO, and they did it quite well with Khadgar. I don't feel like they managed to do anything really like that with this event, though. It was very much just you're killing demons with, the old world characters, and there will, a few twists happen. That said, the voice acting will really bring that up in terms of its production value and its quality, and it's kind of like if you're playing any game on easy mode, where there's really not that much game. And it's kind of like anything where you're in a highly scripted sequence where the gameplay isn't mega, engaging. I mean, yeah, I died a few times, but it's not like it's super engaging content from a gameplay perspective, in that it is supposed to be a linear thing that everyone can do because it is the introduction to the expansion that's designed to deliver narrative to people and have a few key plot points happen. Obviously, when you are not able to, because it's the alpha, when you don't have some of those storytelling elements such as voice acting and cinematics and well-paced and designed music, yeah, it's not going to be as effective. So here's what I think overall. When you actually get into Legion, and when this is well polished up, and you have full voice acting for every character, and probably an extremely cool in-game cinematic at the end, I mean, the stuff that their in-game cinematic team pumps out is actually really some top-notch stuff. So once all of that's in, I think this is going to be a pretty fun bit of content that will kick the expansion off in a way that tells people what the threat of the expansion is, and, and then instantly just dump them off into the Artifact Weapon quest, which itself will be a voice-acted bit of content that's got some bespoke elements to it, that's got generally pretty good gameplay. So you'll have this hour and a half or so of content, maybe even 2 hours, depends on the class quest, I suppose. But you'll have this big chunk of content that's actually pretty damn good, and then you'll head into the actual world of Legion, and from my perspective, I think the Broken Shore is actually really quite great as far as the questing content goes. Yes, there are some questions about the duration and quantity of that content, but so far I've really enjoyed every zone that's been on offer. Of course, things like the endgame really do matter, and this alpha build did bring in world quests. I'll cover that within a few days' time, but that's essentially it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.